All right, and welcome to Dion. What are we calling it?
Really put me on the spot here, aren't you?
You bet.
We don't have a name for this yet. What we're doing here is recapping our previous tournament in the WWBC Season 1, as well as previewing our next event. Something me and Connor are trying out. I'm Dion Lunsford, by the way. IGN for Star Realms, also Dion Lunsford. And I'm with Connor Naylor, a.k.a. Connor, just Connor. Like we said, we're just going to be talking about recaps and previews for our circuit that we're doing, just to give you guys some content and just giving our thoughts on the series and maybe doing our own fantasy brackets for people to see. I know some people have some questions about how to do a fantasy bracket, so we'll talk about that as well and try to have some fun with it. So
It's good to do the fantasy brackets because you get entered in if you win into a little tournament where you can earn some extra points for the next time around. And we love to see it, and we love to compete, even for some of us like me who aren't very good at the game. We want that chance to. I don't like that look you're giving me. We want that chance that we can feel like winners deep down, even if we're not. We at least know how to pick them.
fair enough.
So, on deck, we've got the results of event number 7, the classic Honey Buns.
Yes, this is event 7 in an 8-event series. We had 6 tournaments prior to this that went pretty well. We've had a lot of Star Realms leagues in the past. A lot of successful ones going on, really good long-standing ones. But there was no real one for Commanders, so I decided to try to kick off one myself because that's personally my favorite thing to do in the game currently. And my goal was to flush out Commanders in its entirety to kind of see how individual commanders stand and try to find different formats to play and just kind of have fun with it. So here we are at event number 7, which, like we said before, was the Honey Buns format. Format theorized to be one of the more open ones for almost any, if not every, commander to potentially have a shot at any game. And I think we kind of got to see how that turned out.
We did. Who else other than Alderin, who's been killing it and winning every other event, the perhaps pioneer of Honey Buns, to bring it in with his girl Nandi taking it first place for his third tournament win this season.
Third in 7 tries.
As Nandi. And oh man, I never thought I'd see Nandi at the top of this, let alone somebody that just wasn't Jay.
Yes, that is true. It was very refreshing to see somebody not Jochum be in the first place spot.
She doesn't need those other 2 cards. She can do it all on her own.
With the help of many events. But it's fine. So, as we said, Alderin did manage to take it down. He went 6-0 in matches. I believe something like 10-2 in total games, which is pretty neat.
Oh, he dropped game Alderin? Oh, come on, man! You can't be dropping games.
Yeah. Ended up beating Politis, bringing them McCready in a grand final set that had the potential to be 2 best of 5s, but Alderin was able to take it down in 1, winning 3 games to 1 to take it all down. We do have some win rates for you guys for the format.
All right. So here's the big table for event 7. Obviously, you got entries depending on who played. So, unfortunately, my boy Lee, starting off in the top row, I think there were maybe 3 Lees in that event, one of which was me, and I went 0-2 drop like a champion, because I'm a champion like that.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could pull it up.
Rip, I know, also played. I think he might have gotten a win. But most of these are the man himself, Philip, Philmeister, who made himself a nice little run into 9th place. Unfortunately, bubbling out of top 8, but still making a run with Lee, something we never I never thought we'd see as a League player. But this is a chaotic event, and Dion and I have known him for a long time, and maybe he's got the secret sauce in honey buns. Maybe he's just that classic lucky that we know him to be. Who knows? But either way, love to see it. Love to see him getting some wins.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so we were talking about the number of picks going into the tournament. I think we had 53 or so players, and the spread ended up being 15 Jochums, 15 McCreadys, 9 Walshes, 2 Newbergs, 3 Lees, 8 Nandis, which is a record considering the format. I don't think there's ever been more than 3 in any of the other tournaments. Granted, we did do Commander Locks starting in event 4, I believe, so hasn't been that much data with that, but definitely the most in a single tournament to date. And 1 single Vulcan that I do not believe did well. Just a quick 0-2 out, unfortunately hit. Its theoretical worst matchup in Jochum and was not able to take down any of those games. But so we've had an average of Jochum and McCready dominating every event by sheer numbers so far. They're usually playing around the same amount of numbers every tournament, 15 and 15 respectively. Although, like we said, Nandi was able to come out on top, being one of the 8, for which I believe 2 made top 8. So that was pretty insane.
And look at that score. 5-0 Walsh. 9-5 against McCready. A winning record against McCready. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I think one of the things that I know you and I talked about is that, like, in a format of chaos, Nandi's passive that gives her that 2 econ or put the card on top of your deck really gives you a lot more control. And with her and Newberg, the more control you have over some of that stuff, really, as far as the data shows, it seems to give you that advantage. So where in a format without events, that level of control maybe didn't do so hot for her, or maybe just she got, like poor Vulcan, bullied by big mean Jochum.
But yeah, for sure.
We'll love to see her here.
Yeah, and even then with the top decking ability, like as a format as a whole, of course, there's a lot of chaos and some fortunality involved, but there's definitely a lot of skill involved in this format as well. I feel, involving your sequencing and how you play your turns as well, which the Nandi players clearly exhibited really well. I think the top performers were Alderaan, Corey Bear also made top 8 as well, and Ipaspis also made a run. I think made a top 16 or top 12, which was really impressive as well. Turned out a 7-10 record against the Jochums. Is that right for 90s total?
Yeah. Yep. So still kind of on the losing end, but I mean, we've talked about Jochum for whatever reason seems to just love sitting about that 60% win rate, no matter what. So you take as close to 50-50 as you can get, and 7-10 doesn't matter who you are. If you're not Jochum, that's a good score against Jochum.
For sure, for sure. I personally played Walsh, and I believe I was able to get 1 win against a Jochum, and I also ran into Hypaspis as well, and he was one of my losses. So I'm definitely one of those 0-5s in the Walsh area against the Nandis. But it was very interesting to see that the Nandis overall having a really good record overall. Not surprising that this format, in theory, works well for 90, but to see it in tournament also prove itself as well was really cool to see. Any other commanders highlighted here, matchup-wise, that came up?
Surprisingly, Newberg and McCready are both somewhat popular. I think there probably wasn't as much Newberg this time around, it looks like. The score jumps out. It's 1-0, but usually I think you expect Newberg to win, but it's just the one. Always hovering around here. We always like to take a moment to highlight the Jochum McCready matchup because, as you said earlier, your exact words, I believe, were, it feels like 2 titans fighting, battling it out to see who can get that 51st percent in the win rate.
That's literally what it always seems to turn out. I personally like to see it. I think I'm definitely on the side of Jochum, kind of not really needing to be involved in as many formats, but maybe some, here and there. Jochum is definitely proven to be just a juggernaut that just can't be touched by anybody most of the time, besides by McCready, who seems to find its way to always make it a very even fight. The percentages say as such, and it's also pretty cool to see overall. So it's nice to see. I think they went, what does it say? 13 and.
Yeah, 13 wins for Jochum and 11 for McCready.
Yeah, so like that's pretty much been very similar every single event that we've been recording records so far. So,
and it's a cold day in hell when an elite player like me is rooting for McCready to win. But it's like, again, they're battling for that 51st percent, and it's either we've had dead even, but I think Jochum always gets that 1%. That's that 1%, and I'm spiteful, I'm vindictive, and I want to see McCready do it just so that somebody can knock him off the pedestal.
yeah,
We got one more event, and I'm hoping that's the one.
Yeah, I believe I said. Speaking of which, when I put the event 8 up, I mentioned that I got most of the formats that I wanted to out there, and I let a certain somebody
Here we
named
go.
Connor here pick said format for the 8th event, and there you have it. Here we've got Frontiers.
So yeah, let's start by going to here's the format.
Yes.
Frontiers, Year 2 promos, Assault,
Stellar Allies,
and Frontier promos, and obviously Commanders.
So
and this is kind of the log of the friendly games that I've played, and some of which is Dion's played that we've logged in the Commanders, which is why you can see there's a heavy Lee bias that I've been testing out. And this is definitely a format, at least from my perspective, when I came at it, this was months ago, where I was like, what feels the most fair? Because I didn't have any data or anything. And when I looked at stuff, Year 2 promos just feels good in Commanders. It's something we've talked about. Like, 2 Commanders have Scout Bot. There's a nice bunch of these nice little Year 2 promos that are 2 cost, and they pair for some good effects, or just gel well with what that color is trying to do. But they're also cards that feel safe to buy away from them, so they don't feel like Assimilator or Packed Warship or something that hits the board and you're like, oh boy, here we go. Somebody's going to get this card and it's going to feel bad for the other one. And yeah, it's just got... It was really just a set that I felt like, what feels fun? What feels like I'm not getting dumped on as Lee all the time? And it was basically something like this. And after testing it a little more, I felt good about Vulcan. Newbird, I think, is probably the strongest non-Jochum commander going into this format. Just from my experience, there's a lot of heal that he can get to help his damage. Good strong greens. But like I said, I think it feels good for everybody. Walsh has got some bases and Dockers. McCready has cards with a little red target sign on it, and that's all he cares about. And I don't know what I'm doing with Nandi, so I won't comment on that. And Jochum does whatever he wants. So I mean, that's kind of that was kind of the thought process.
That's fair. Yeah, I believe at one point, I think you were figuring out your format, that what it was going to be, since in the first half of the season, and then at one point you had it at Command instead of Alliance, or Assault rather. So what was the mindset behind switching to Command? By the way, that's the reason, Alder and others, that the K was there initially, because it was going to be K, and then Connor switched it over to Alliance. I just didn't switch at all. So
yeah, one of the biggest reasons was this card called Assault Pod that I really just don't like. It didn't feel fun. It didn't feel fun for one person to get Assault Pod. It's like a blob fighter, but for 50% of the cast. And there's just, it felt really aggressive between Assault Pod, what is it? The Freighter, the blue and yellow one that's like yellow, it's like 4 damage, pair yellow for 3, and then heal with blue. And Unity Fighter, the 1 cost.
Oh, the 1 cost.
Where it scraps a card in the row.
You can scrap the destroyer, or just scrap a card and discard.
Which is a great Lee card, but it's a great kind of everybody card. Row scrap's pretty good. And yeah, it wasn't really like a major thing. I just was like, yeah, I kind of feel like this is maybe a little bit slower. People aren't going to get rushed down as much. And hopefully it'll give people time to like breathe and to play the game a little more.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah, like it's not that far off from the bottom row format that we had before, but it does look like it does have some cards that could slow the game down a little bit more. Besides, so you cater this toward Lee, and we know Jochum will deal. You mentioned that Newberg you think might have one of the biggest affinities for the set, for the format. But like, who do you think would come out on top in this format, like in this tournament? Like out of these guys, who you think has the best shot?
Well, I'm going to have to go with Jochum on that one because 60% win rate is pretty hard to top, and we've never seen it go below that. It's the boring answer. But I think, in a world without Jochum, what would be really interesting to see is like, I think, Lee, Vulcan, and Newberg, I would say, have like strong affinities for the set. And I think that like Newberg has like an advantage against Lee in this format with this going on, and Lee has an advantage against Vulcan, and Vulcan has an advantage against Newberg. Again, just based on feelings and I'm not going to say that I've played like hundreds of games here, but it would be cool to kind of see that trinity, and then Walsh and McCready and Nandi kind of feel like they are outside of that little triangle. Unfortunately, Jochum doesn't care about what shape things are in, and he just towers over all of them. And like I said, I think he's going to force the Vulcans out just by existing and breathing. But we'll still get to see some Lee Newberg stuff. That's always a really tough matchup. And then Newberg Jochum is a tough matchup for Newberg. But Lee has a shot against Jochum in this time around.
Yeah, I mean, I would say so. I'll definitely trust your testing with the Lee commander for sure. I think a lot of people would say, at the very least, as far as WWBC is concerned, you're definitely a pioneer and a big factor of the Lee movement. And as we will see, if we look at the bracket, which I think that we will see that there is a nice representation of Lees. So we will see how that turns out.
Yeah. So before we get into the bracket, let's maybe take a minute and talk about the rankings.
That is
before
true.
we go into this.
That is true.
I've taken about the top 20. The points breakdown, as I like to say, anybody can make it with that 250. Almost anybody can break in. As you can see, the bottom of top 16 is about 345. So anybody who's got in the realm of 200 points, you could be up here if you come home with that win. But I wanted to highlight, this kind of section, the top 16, and take a look. So let's talk about the king.
Yeah. There's Alderaan here at number 1. As we said, he has won 3 WWBC titles this season out of the 7 tournaments we've had so far. So obviously you can see that is a minimum of 750 points out of his 920 there, which is ridiculous. A 30-10 record overall in matches total. His elo, as you can imagine, is ridiculous. As far as challenge is concerned, it's a pretty high. He will definitely walk away with the number 1 ranking and the number one ranking as far as being rated in our challenge league as well. So congratulations to Aldrin for that. I don't know why he still decides to play Jochum. Well, we do know. He says it's all about winning. Win, win, win. But sometimes I wish he would just flex on us with his 90 every now and then in other tournaments when he knows ain't nobody overtaking him at number one. At number two, we got Roland Pa. Very consistent player as well. I believe he has a win under his belt. So in 7 tournaments, that's 4 wins right there between Alderin and Roland Pa at the top 2 spots. He has made a first and a second. He might have a third top 8. I don't recall. 23 and 12, also really insane. Just came off with a 50 points, which is the equivalent of a top 16, I believe, in the previous Honey Buns event. He's predominantly played Jochum all season. We did play the first 2 or 3 events without Commander Lock, so I don't really know what he was doing with those, but I assume he probably played a lot of Jochum then as well. Penguin Army in third at 570. Plus 8 with the record at 22 and 14. I refer to Penguin Army as the Swiss Army knife of this series. He has made 4 top 8s. That is the most. So 400 out of those 570 are all from a minimum top 8ing. I think he has a finals under his belt as well. He is top 8ed with, that I know of, Newberg, McCready. I feel like there was a third one. Maybe Walsh. He's definitely made top 8 with at least 3 different commanders, which is insane. So Cisco Alvarez in 4th, 565, just 5 points from Penguin Army.
Neck and neck.
Neck and neck, yes. He's got a win under his belt, so that's 5 out of the 7. Usually playing Jochum. He's been playing Jochum pretty much all season. I think he might have played one other commander some other time. This is off the top of the dome. Most of this is accurate, I believe. Corey Bear at 440 points. Also very impressive. 3 top 8s. I think he has a finals. Usually plays Jochum. He did play Nandi and Honey Buns. Made top 8 there. Sebas Ripper, our Columbus native, 535 points, 20 and 14 record. He's got a finals and a couple top 8s, maybe a third one. Usually playing Jochum, did branch out with Walsh, I think, at one tournament before Honey Buns. That didn't go well, so I think he has just been playing Jochum since then. Slavic, 495 points. I don't think he's been playing all season. I think he jumped in at event 2 or 3. Just immediately hit it off. He's been playing Jochum pretty much all season. 21 and 14 in total games. Like I said, he's been playing Jochum. He's got a finals and a couple of top 8s. Juan Carlos, 485 points, 18 and 14 record. Pretty consistent player. A couple top 8s, usually playing Jochum, but sometimes this is played McCready. Bork and Beans at number 9, 480 points. So like you see the points here getting thin, 7 through what?
So many rivals.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Penguin and Cis. I mean, a lot of these people we've talked about so far are pretty locked in, but I know I'm the kind of person that sees a 5-point difference and is like, I'm going to beat you.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But
sure.
yeah, Penguin and Cisco, Corey, Sebas, Slavic and Juan Carlos and Bork are a total of 15 points apart each.
Yeah.
Like total, 10 between the first and 5 between the second.
Yes. Yes. Bork with a 15 and 14 record in games. A little bit more grindy than the other ones. But one thing I will say about Bork that I, no offense to the Jochum guys, but you got Penguin Army, Bork and Beans, even Connor, who's next to me here.
Zim,
mostly. I put McCready up there with Jochum, but to see Bork up here, really, Bork and Penguin Army up here with the rest of them, not playing Jochum, posting good results. Gotta respect that. Zim, like I said, 10th place, 445 points. At McCready, Maine, we see him in the NAT tournaments dominating all the time. He's been doing well. He's got at least 3 top 8s. I think a finals. CJK Flyer, 440 points. Probably would have more. He did miss the Honey Buns event.
And that's just the more impressive that he's gotten 440 points and he didn't even show up. I mean, on accident, but that's just impressive. That's just from what? I don't even, was he even in the first event? Just, I know things were getting started, but like, that's an impressive score for 5 events.
So I do think he's played in just about everything. He would have been right up there. I believe he was top 12 in event 6, and if he had won to make top 8, he would have the same. He would also be up there with Penguin Army at 4 top 8s. So a lot of his points are just kind of just getting the top 8 and going in, I believe. Politis right under him at 425, so a little bit of a gap starts there. Politis is one of the more interesting ones, despite kind of sticking to Jochum and McCready. But Politis did jump in at around event 5 or even 6. All of his points, I think, literally, are a win and a second place. So
damn.
yeah.
That math checks out.
Yes. So 15-6 record. He came in for his first tournament and he won it. I think it was event 4 or 5.
That's an entrance.
Yeah. So yeah, he won the whole thing.
Hey guys, how's it going?
With
Number 1.
With Jochum. Switched to another commander for the next one. I think went 0-2, and then went back to McCready this time for Honey Buns, where he lost in the finals against Alderaan. So he has not been playing in many WWBCs and is already in the top 16, as you can see here. We've got the 9-inch Ninja Nin at 390 points, 15-10 record. He's got a win under his belt.
Now we're in scared territory.
Yeah.
So everybody else has got there's now a pretty big power gap between Politis and Ninji and kind of the rest of us down here in the top 16.
Yes, and Ninji is the 7th win. So that covers everybody who has won a WWBC up to this point. And to round out the top 16, we've got Star Mark, another consistent player. I don't know if Star Mark has played Jochum before in the WWBC, so I don't want to be wrong and give him my no Jochum praise, but I know for sure has done really well across the board. Connor, my main man next to me, still hanging around there at 380 points.
Hey, how come? I just noticed this. I don't have any plus points next to my name. What? How come? How come I have the same amount of points as last time? What happened? What?
Well, I believe you mentioned earlier that you're kind of crashed and
you
burned.
You have to win to get points.
Yeah, you kind of do. Sometimes if you're rated high enough, you can get lucky and kind of maybe get into that top 32. But yeah, so at 380 points, he is hanging on by a thread, but he does have a bit of a gap between him and the 16th place Darklighter, our own Rick DeMille, who runs the SRPC Endurance Challenge. I don't even know what else. He runs like a bunch of stuff. He's awesome. I always go to him for questions about my own TO musings. So he is hanging around at the 16th spot, hoping to retain it. You want to go with who's under him?
Yeah, so at this point, Lux, who's a great player, who I don't have that kind of memory that you have on stats, but he is in 17th place, right on Darklighter's tail, basically just by giving a really consistent performance every time around.
Yeah.
I don't know, has he top 8'd? He's probably top 8'd once or twice, but just by going positive every single time, basically, I don't think I've ever seen him 0-2. Just getting those points, just really consistent player.
That's true. I believe I know he has at least one. He might have 2 top 8s. Actually, I do have a little list of top 8 rankings that I plan to post at the end of the season. Like a little list of who's made top 8, how many times. and there's a hierarchy as well. I've got it right here. Why are you doing this to me?
And so you can see Dark Lighter and down, 16 through 20 are neck and neck on points. Dark Lighter at 345, Lux at 340, Rock at 340, Mo Power at 330, and sorry, buddy, what you want it? Wachowanek?
That's
Wachowanek.
that is how I
Wachowanek.
pronounce it. If it is wrong, I am sorry, Jacob.
Hit us up in the comments. Throw us that dislike button. Be like, you guys suck.
But he did just come away with, you see that plus 125 with a top 4? Yeah, top 4 finish in Honey Buns format with the McCready pick. So, Wachowanek had a pretty good run early and then a couple little misses in the middle, and now coming back to kind of make a run to take maybe a top 16 spot. And to go back, I did find my little list. Your Lux has made top 8 twice. I don't remember with who the first time, if we were keeping record, but he does have a Lee top 8. He is one of 2 Lee top 8.
wait, it's just us?
It's just, who else do you think would make top 8 with
I
Lee?
guess Philip Bubble.
Philip Bubble.
Oh, suck it.
Yes. So, and then for all you don't know, because I feel like in the beginning of the season, this was a thing. Like, even though I post all the info on the descriptions for these tournaments, there is a point system, as you can see here. It is starting from top 32 if there are minimum top 32 players.
Right, let's pull up the one for event 8, right?
Yeah, sure.
There you go.
Yeah, so we have not gotten 64 players yet. It would be awesome to kind of get over 64 players at some point next season. I believe we will. It'd be cool. I'm blessed that you guys keep on coming to play in our events. To consistently get 50 plus is amazing. So let's keep it going. But it's pretty generous, I think. But if we ever got 64 players, 10 points for everybody in that 64 range. But usually we get about 32. So if you are in top 32, you get 20 points. If you're over that point, if you are 33rd and under, unfortunately, you do not get any points. But that's fine. The top 24 gets 30 points. Top 16, 50. Top 12, 60. And as you can see, it kind of trickles down a little bit because it is a double elimination format. So you kind of have to reward the players who advance a little bit more in the losers bracket because they are winning a game and moving ahead. So you can see that increment points go up a little bit. Top 8, 100 points. You got to reward the top 8. The advancements from there get a little bit more points at 110. Top 4 get 125. Third place gets 150 because that'll cement the losers. The loser of the losers finals, because I'll be playing for the finals match. Second place, 175 points, and of course the winner gets 250.
The big pot, and that's why anybody can do it. Anybody can do like you just said, like Plitus did. Just knock it out of the park and climb your way into that top 16 to get invited into that last event. So here we are, the final event. The bracket's just been made, and so let's just crank it right out. This is what you guys can do. You can go to predictions. You can make your own prediction. We're really going out of our way to incentivize you because it's so fun. And first of all, let's talk about, I think since this is me doing it, it's at the end. Shout out to everybody who names their prediction. They're always amazing. So shout out to everybody.
Yes, who was it? Was it Gianos who won the last one?
Yep,
yes,
Gianos.
Yes, Simon won the last one with what I think was probably one of the better names that I've seen so far. Themed after the honey buns. I think he called it, what did he say? The events we've had along the way or something like that.
The real winners are the events we've had along the way.
Yes. I love that name. And he was able to win the bracket. I think he was the only person who had Alderaan going down. We do only do fantasy brackets for the winner side, just because it's just simpler that way. I would have loved to do the whole thing, but we did have some pushback. Not any major, but like even after looking at it myself, I thought this is a lot of picks. So we just stick with the winners bracket, and the person who has the best score will just takes the pick, takes the win, and they get added into a pool of players who will get to play in a postseason tournament for points toward the next season.
So basically, we just go match by match. Our first match here is Rip on Lee versus JP Runs Funny on McCready.
Yeah, so this is two really good players. Rip has played Lee all season in every event. I think he has played in all of our events so far. JP not as much, but also a really amazing player who usually will tag in if you're playing in a very aggro format. I believe he has been quoted to say so. Really likes those Frontiers runs, and he will pick McCready most of the time. So who are you thinking?
I hate to see it. I hate to see it because McCready's always got such a good matchup against him. As Lee needs a minute to get set up, and McCready's all about bowling people over.
Yeah, but didn't a certain somebody get the 2-0 and a best 2 out of 3 in top 8?
Better lucky than good. I'm better lucky than good. That's all I gotta say about that.
Against our own JP as well.
Was it against JP?
Yeah.
Man, if I can do it, Rip can do it.
I am very into stats and like my matchups. So like,
how do you know everything?
Got a pretty good memory. So what is the pick for Connor?
My heart wants Lee, but I'm gonna have to go with McCready on this one, just because. You know, when you're picking brackets, you're going with whatever you think is just the most likely event, and it's totally possible if it's a 51% chance. And that's probably going to be for McCready here.
All right. On to our next match. It's the 16 seed against the 49. Dark Lighter versus. Oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure I'm not pronouncing this right. What do you think it is?
Ooh, I'm thinking German. I'm thinking Dweil.
Dweil?
What do you think it is?
I'm gonna go with that because I have no idea.
I have no idea.
DWIEL.
Dweil, leave a comment, and if we got it right, tell us that we got it right, and if we didn't get it right, thumbs down the video. Tell us how much you hate us.
So we got a Jochum mirror match here.
Yeah, and this is basically a coin flip. The only real information that I have to go off here is the seed number.
That's fair.
It's whoever kind of gets that initial thing going or makes the better plays can pull this out. So all in all, I don't have too much to say here. It really is a coin flip, and I'm just gonna make the best guess I have based on the seeding info.
Yeah, I would pick Darklighter as well. I'll try to go with say who I will probably be picking in my own fantasy bracket on top of this. But yeah, I mean, I would pick Darklighter as well. We know him to be a very good Jochum player. One of the more conservative ones, I think, with his gambit. I think there is a lot more nuance to the Jochum mirror than people say. Although a lot of times it does feel like it comes down to that first bomb.
Definitely, there are some games where man, it feels great. You're both waiting on that gambit. Who makes those right little micro decisions? Who gambits at the right time? And sometimes it's just I got Colossus. It's really. I love to see those games that you're talking about where it's nice and close and all that stuff. So
for sure. Next up, we got 17 versus 48. It's going to be Lux on Vulcan against Dre Money, who's on McCready. Fun fact: Lux is another Ohio native, so that's with us. So he's an Ohio homie. But Dre Money is actually my little brother. His name is DeAndre, named after me. But he is my little brother.
So Dion, do you think that you have trained your brother well enough to defeat number 17th seed Lux?
No.
Instant.
My brother
Instant.
is pretty trash at this game. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah,
That's 30, man.
he's got the strats, but sometimes he makes some very questionable decisions.
He's playing McCready.
He has since, but that's the thing. He's switched over. He's been a Newberg player up to this point. And it's Lux. It's a very close matchup. I feel. I think in this format, I have tested it a lot. I was trying to figure out if I wanted to play Vulcan. Also, I was trying to figure out how serious I wanted to take this event because I'm one of the people who kind of, if they have any hope for top 16, it's winning basically. I don't think Vulcan's gonna win this, but sometimes, I mean, Vulcan is my favorite commander to play. But that McCready matchup can be annoying. Just McCready just does its thing. You still heal everything, and sometimes you still just lose anyway. Just McCready is just really annoying. But again, in the hands of a really good Vulcan player, and this also pains me to talk about because I did lose to Lux in the finals of the Legend Series at Origins last year, playing Vulcan. So I'm not gonna go against Lux on this unless it was against a Jochum player, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. I respect Lux as a player in general from our past games and practice. He won his Legend Series with Vulcan at a time where nobody thought anything of Vulcan, and I respect the hell out of him for bringing it here and for saying I don't care about Jochums. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna pick the commander that I like and make my run. And I wish him the best.
So that means you're going Lux as well?
I am going to go Lux in this matchup. Oops.
Okay.
Marcus, you got to practice more. Match number 4, we have Paul Solomon on Jochum versus Patriarch on McCready. Once again, these are two really good players. This is the Jochum versus McCready that I think we've already talked about here, where it's 51-49. That 51-49.
Yeah.
And the seeds are pretty close in this case. 25 and 40. There's probably not too much of a gap between them at the end of the day.
I agree with that.
I think also, I mean, I've played Patriarch enough in other events that I think he probably just hasn't played too much in the series, and that if he did, he'd be higher. So this is a classic coin flip. What do you think?
I mean, like I said, I think everybody who's been playing are amazing players. So sometimes it does get hard to look outside the matchup and just kind of make a pick. Paul Solomon's a friend. He ran one of the first Commander events that was pretty crazy, where he had just mirror matches every week. It was 7 weeks of everybody playing the same Commander against each other every week. So it was all like 1 week was Jochum's, everybody played Jochum and played against each other, and all the way down. Patriarch is another Ohio native, who is also a really good player. I always find myself playing him in in-apps, and he always does well against me, throwing all kinds of fun strategies that I have to deal with. So I would go with the Ohio native myself, even though I love Paul. Like you said, 51-49 is just about making a pick.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and do it.
All right. Next up, Dusto and DG3. Dusto on the Newberg. He's been maining all season. I think that's his tried and true. DG3 as well. Everybody knows DG3 is synonymous with Walsh. Recently coming off a top 12 in Honey Buns, his best performance so far. We know how amazing DG3 is. He's won 1,000 in-app events so far. I actually remember when I was kind of close to him, and then he just ran away at one point. And then Dusto is Dusto, amazing player. He's a Star Realms legend and a Newberg expert as well. So I don't know who to pick, honestly, in this matchup. How do you feel? I mean, I think maybe based off of your talkings of how you think the affinities in this format go, maybe the Newberg player, but they're both so good.
Yeah, I mean it's really tough. You know, Newberg is, I think, got a lot of cards. I feel like, you know, DG3's just had the short straw in this series because we see him win all the in-apps, but then as he's even said, like, just things haven't always gone his way in these events, and like part of me feels like the pendulum's got to swing the other way eventually, right? This is the last event, right? It's gotta swing back, right?
You gotta wonder if he used his magic in honey buns, but we'll see.
That's true. He made a good run.
So yeah, who you got? It is your bracket.
All right. Well, all right. It's more entertaining for me to pick DG3. I'll get into that in a minute. So we'll go with that. 6, we have Hypaspist, who's been rocking Nandi for the whole time.
Yeah.
And JL, who's, I think, more recently started playing. And he is on Jochum.
Yes. Yeah. And important to note, Jay has, I think, played, I think, in 2 or 3 events so far. So not basically in the second half, basically. Missed the entire first half. Has played Jochum, I think, most of the time. I think he played McCready and Honey Buns. But in the couple tournaments that he has played in, what's his? 36? Is that right?
Yep, 36.
So that was a 36 coming from the bottom of the barrel, which was like when he started. We've had 69 unique players play so far. So to basically, you can see there, to move up to 36, he must have been doing something in the few tournaments that you've played in so far. He's at 120 points at an 8-4 record. So I believe that comes off at 2 performances of top 12. So I believe, yeah, so he's been bubbled out of top 8 twice, basically. So he could easily have 40 more points right now, depending on how things have worked out. So also noted to be a Jochum hater, even though he's playing Jochum, but I think it's one of those things where if you're trying to be competitive, you got to do what you got to do. But I have talked to him about some ideas that we've got for the next format. I'm sure he'll be excited to play in some formats that don't have Jochum, as are many other players here. So who you got in the matchup? I'm inclined to just pick Jochum. I did this. This isn't Honey Buns. Hypaspis is an amazing player, but
and we've seen him do it. But I'm a simple man, Dion. One of those people has 7 cards in their hand, and one of them has 5. And I'm gonna put
with no chance to get extra cards.
Right. So I'm gonna do my basic kindergarten arithmetic. There's a lot more to it than that, but and say that 7 is more than 5.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go with JL on Jochum.
Also, Hypaspis, if you're watching, and Agent Seto, it's nice to see that you guys aren't playing in the first round for once. I think Hypaspis had a little bit to do with that, with his top 16 or top 12 run, bridging that gap a little bit.
3 consecutive first rounds of Hypaspis versus...
I think it was 4. I think they played each other 4 times in
Agent
WWBC.
Seto.
It's got to be up there with the most times they've played. And that's the cool thing about these double elimination tournaments. They're modeled after like fighting game series, which I've played in a lot over the years. I'm a real avid fan of fighting game tournaments. They're usually double elimination, and every one that you go to, you have the chance of just meeting the same players at different points, kind of developing kind of a rivalry there. And Hypaspis and Agent Seto has definitely been one of them.
For sure. Somebody else round 1 for a change.
Yes.
Whether that's good or bad, we'll find out.
They'll probably find each other in a tournament and losers or
somehow.
something.
I don't even think they're on the same side of the bracket, but they'll meet in the finals.
Oh,
it's their destiny.
But neither of them are playing Jochum, so I don't know how that's going to work.
Well, I don't think that's true.
Okay. That was my guess. So, all right. What we got next?
Yes. So now we've got a McCready mirror with Chowanek versus D-Zilla.
Yes. D-Zilla, one of the newer comers. I think it's been playing in the last 2 events, I believe, with us. Appreciate you joining. Yeah, McCready is as 50-50 as it comes with the mirrors. The mirrors are, I feel that fun and not fun at the same time. Like, if you're just trying to play in these tournaments, some people like play it as just support and just do the attendance. But if you're trying to play some games and get them out the way, and just wherever the chips fall where they may, you just pick McCready no matter what. A lot of people associate him as the play-all commander. So this game will probably be over in 4 turns. So I mean, it's a coin flip, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what? Let's go with Zilla this time.
Ooh.
Let's give it to the underdog. See
Little
how.
March Madness
Yeah.
seed picking. Okay.
See how it goes.
All right. Next up, we got Giannos. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's what I'm going with, Simon. And Royal Lance, two players that have been playing all season, I believe. Giannos playing a slew of different people over the course of the series. Royal Lance is on Jochum, and Giannos is on Vulcan this time. I believe the first time he's picked her. But yeah, the Vulcan pick.
Yeah. Love to see it. Love to see it. Glad to see it.
I love to see it as well. Unfortunately, going up against Jochum. Jay, as we mentioned before, not really a fan of Jochum, but do what you got to do to try to be competitive. Has been noted to be a Vulcan player and is looking forward to more formats where Vulcan is viable. Gianno's playing Vulcan here as somebody else who loves to play Vulcan as well. I don't know if anybody else thinks that, but it is not fun to play against Jochum. The matchup chart, at least in my experience, is skewed very badly in that matchup. And I'm just gonna pick. I'm picking Royal Lance in my bracket.
Love to see it, Giannos. I hope.
I hope you're matching losers.
I hope. Wow, that's savage, Giannos. I hope your matching losers goes well.
Wow.
Better. I hope you prove me wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I think.
That too. I want to see Vulcans advance, man. We have not there was not been a Vulcan in top 8. I don't even know there's been a Vulcan in top 16. I don't know, man. So, all right, on to the next one. Yarboa and Bahamut 619. Jochum versus McCready. That clash of the Titans.
Yeah. I think at this point we've covered a lot of the matchups. So now it's just let's look at the players. And you, the audience, may have at least their seed, but I know that I've seen Bahamut a lot in other events. I've played against him a lot in other events. I've played against Yarboa a lot in other events, and they're both really good players. And in this match, it's really really close and really tight. But I have to say, the last time I played Yarboa. I was on Lee, and usually people that haven't played like me or one of the couple other people that play Lee don't know what they're doing. And Yarboa honed in on exactly what the game plan is against Lee. And I don't know if she had practice, but that takes to me that earns my respect of, you know what you do. You take you're taking this seriously. You know what you're doing, or you figured it out, and that's even more impressive. So that's why I'm going to give her the edge, and go with her.
I think I'm picking Yarboa as well, mostly because they're both amazing players, as is everybody here, as we've said. I would like to see how far Yarboa can go, because she is at the 21 seed. And is at 265 points. So a bit away from that top 16 gap. It looks like about 80 points away. So obviously to really break that mold, probably needs to at least top 8 and go far, and hope maybe some of the other people brick. But definitely a shot to crack that top 8 if Yarboa goes far. So I'll be interested to see how far she goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Oops. So next up we have Imam versus ECM. Both players on Jochum, both players close in seed. ECM is kind of newer to Star Realms. He's a friend of ours that we got convinced that he should play Star Realms because it's a great game that we love. And he's been playing in a lot of series lately. He's been doing pretty well, as we kind of know him to, despite perhaps the lack of experience. But he's up against Imam, who's got experience for days.
Oh yeah, Imam. I don't know how many games played she has, but it's got to be up there in top 50 ever. She's got a bunch of games. I don't know the exact number, but it's a lot. As we said, Adam is more of a newer player. We forced. He was forced to play this game just because we know him to be a savant of many other games.
He
He's
consented. I'm just saying, for anybody listening, this is forced as a joke. He consented to play Star Realms.
Yes, he is very intelligent. Teaches us a lot of different games, and we just thought it would be cool to have him play in our tournament series. Started out as a McCready player, very easy to play all and just do stuff, and then he was introduced to Jochum, and that was the worst mistake that we ever made. And now he's like, why would I ever go back? Next season I'll have to, because there's going to be significantly less Jochum in that. So get wrecked, Adam. But Jochum versus Jochum, just got to pick somebody. Who you got?
Let's do Imam.
Cool. I think I'll pick Adam on my side, but we'll see. Oh, speaking of...
Oh! It's April, but Christmas has come early this year. It's a Lee Mirror match. Hooray! I don't have to play McCready. I don't have to play Jochum. It doesn't matter if I win or lose. We're going to have a fun time. Miko, what? I
don't know.
Danny.
Yeah, I believe that is Danny.
Danny. You and me, Danny, we're going to have fun. And at the end of the day, that's what matters.
We got a Lee Mirror match here. Mequak, newer to the WWBC scene, have been playing the past 2, maybe 3 events. Not shy to play whoever they want. I think he's played like 90 and 1. I might be wrong about that, but at least Vulcan before. Now playing Lee, which in this format feels a little bit more meta.
I'm a real boy.
Yeah. Coming up into the scene, playing against Connor, the 15 seed, who is hanging on for dear life in the top 16 race. As we said, he's on 380 points.
I've got the tiniest bit of buffer, but boy, does that go fast.
Yeah. You'll be surprised. I mean, you assume a lot of the top 16 is just going to come away with minimal 20 points. So if you can cover that spread by at least getting points yourself, you can kind of keep yourself safe depending on how far you go. But you definitely don't want to go 0-2 and get no points, because it's going to be real. It's going to be real sus.
It's going to be real
sus for you.
And think of how embarrassed I would be if I went 0-2 in a format that I proposed and said, hey, let's play this, and then I lost and went out. That would be really embarrassing, right? There's no way that this is going to come back to haunt me in any way.
I had also prefaced that that Connor had picked this format, as we said earlier, and if it does suck, feel free to tell him.
Wow!
So with the pick, I'm gonna go ahead and pick you. I would pick you in my bracket.
Aw, I'd pick me too.
Alright, getting on down. Next up, Raka and Confusion. Raka's on Jochum with Confusion with the Walsh pick. I think Confusion has picked Walsh most of the time, if not every time. Raka, as you can see there, 18 seed. Also fighting for that spot, tied with Lux. So basically tied for 17th, basically. So this performance is going to be pretty important to see if he can get in there.
Yeah, and yeah, we've seen Confusion have. I think he was another, maybe later join, but he's had some good solid runs. And Walsh is this has the some good bases and some good dockers, so anything could happen and the game can get carried away. Who are you picking?
I'm gonna go with Raka. When in doubt, Jochum. And I mean, even though this has been proven to be pretty close matchup depending on the format, Walsh has also been up there in a few of our events with a very similar win rate as like Jochum, McCready, and stuff, just depending on the format. But I'm gonna go with Raka here, also to see how far Raka can go, to see if they can get in top 16.
I'm gonna do the same.
Next up, we got Dust Off on Lee against Deanna B. I'm a little biased here. Deanna B is my girlfriend and the mother of my child. We're having here, hopefully, in 3 weeks' time. We'll see what happens. We're due May 5th, for those who don't know, but probably definitely coming a little bit early. So don't worry, I still plan to be smoothing out these events. I'm already putting groundwork together for season 2, so it's going to be easier to just punch these things out. I'll also have the help of Connor here. But yes, me and Deanna B are expecting and ready to be a family. So
If you can't recruit other people to join your tournaments, sometimes you just gotta make them yourself.
yeah, so Deanna did hop in at the last minute to help, just support her guy. I just like to get the attendance up there, and I also like when she plays. She's picking Nandi for this tournament against Dustoff's Lee. Deanna does not usually play Nandi; she's usually a McCready player, but has been playing friendlies and testing games with Nandi. So she just said, "What the heck." Who you got in Dustoff versus Lee? Which we will know that is another Lee. I have not compiled our numbers yet, but we might be coming up on a record amount of Lees in the tournament.
I think we'll have plenty of Lees. Yeah, the Lee Nandi matchup I think is really favored for Lee, who starts with a nice annoying discard card, and just by picking up a second one can really stick it to Nandi, who's already playing on a 5-card hand. In addition to just Nandi being a little bit slower, gives Lee that time to do the thing that he's out here trying to do. So I'm pretty certain I'm going on Lee on this one.
Cool. I do understand that. And, not to be biased, but I think I will go with the Nandi pick just because I do believe anything can happen. I do agree with your sentiments though. Like, you get a second discard card, and we're in Frontiers. You got Light Cruiser, all these annoying things that can just really mess up Nandi's day. But if Nandi can get a good bomb and just swing in there, scrap, and find the cards, I mean, it's possible. Like, Nandi could even do that against Jochum. But I'm gonna go Deanna in my bracket. So you can have the lead pick here.
You'll love to see it.
Love you.
Sorry. So now we got Kuntz on Jochum up against another friend of ours, Jimmy on McCready.
Yes. So it's like, yeah, Jimmy took a break. I think a couple, either 1 or 2 tournament break. Hopping in here to join us again on his McCready pick to go up against Kuntz. Another player vying potentially to crack that top 16 with the 23 seed. I believe Kuntz is on 250 points, coming off a top 8 performance in Honey Buns. Yeah, so does need a little bit of work, very similar to Yarboa, but I mean, he's done it twice. I believe he's got 2 top 8s under his belt, so anything can happen here. I think I would go with the Kuntz pick here.
Yeah, it's tough to say. It's hard to say how much Joel's had a shot to play, so love to see him back. But sure, let's see if Kuntz can keep riding that wave.
Yeah. Another thing I usually do on my own fantasy bracket is, like, with the Jochum McCready, I'll go back and see how I've picked, just because I do feel it's, like you said, 49-51. Like, I don't want it to be skewed too much toward one person.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I usually do for my brackets personally. But all right, next one, what we got?
We got Markbot on McCready up against a friend of ours, Agent Seto, Ian Teague.
The commissioner of BGG himself.
He has decided that he is going to take his knife and stab everyone, his principals in the back, and play Jochum. He's been pretty vocal about being anti-Jochum, not a fan, but desperate times seem to call for desperate measures.
That
And
is fair.
there's no room for principles when victory is on the line.
That is true. As you can see with the 35 seed, you can assume he's a bit down there. Ian Teague is on the 120 points. It's got an 8-10 record in games this season. But I mean, if he does win, you do that math. 250 will get him at 370. Other people are going to get more points, but you never know how much that's going to be. You never know. That could put him right in there, depending on what happens. But I think he's with me and a bunch of other players that you're kind of, you don't really care if you make the top 16 or not, but if you're going for it, you got to win. So first place or bust, pretty much.
Yep, and in this case, I think I'm going to call that his sacrificing of his principles are going to get him at least this one win.
Okay.
So I'm going to give him. Was it worth it, Ian? Was it worth it?
Next up, we got. I'm going to call him a testing partner because we've been playing a lot of games. Star Mark, among many people, have helped practice games in the formats that are to come in future tournaments. I play with Star Mark a lot. We've played, even today, we finished a set for this format. So he's playing McCready. So I know he is well versed in the formats. Up against Sheridan, one of our newer players. I believe the Honey Buns event was Sheridan's first event in WWBC. Played Newburgh last time, on Newburgh this time. Playing against Starmark, who you just said was on McCready. I think this is the first Newburgh-McCready matchup we have in the bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta wonder if you're gonna go with that Newburgh pick based on your hints on the affinity in the matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about Sheridan as a player other than he definitely beat me in Honey Buns, and it's a tough call. It's an advantage, but it's not a Jochum versus Nandi level of advantage. So it's still going to be a close game, and honestly, yeah, I mean in this case, I'd say I'd look at it. I don't want to. Anything can happen, and it's a 50-50. So I like to, like you said, consider how many times I'm doing this, and I don't want to say, well, slight advantage, win every time. But I think maybe in this case we'll see a bit of an upset due to commander pick. So.
Ooh. Yeah, I do like Starmark. I consider Starmark a friend. And yeah, I think I would go with the Newburgh pick too. Similar vibes to the bottom row format that we had in Event 6 that I like into this format. It's a little bit different, but I think it has a lot of the same elements that I thought. I played Newburgh for that event. Unfortunately, I fizzled out, but I thought Newburgh was a really good pick for it, and I think Newburgh fits really well in this format as well. So next up, we got Mo Power up against Josh Abram. Mo Power on McCready, Josh on Walsh. What are you thinking here?
Well, you look at the seeds, and you see 19 to 46. You look at the commanders, and you see McCready, who's traditionally had an edge over Walsh. My gut here is, both of these players, what they're doing. Josh is a friend and test partner, and we've seen Mo Power do pretty well and make some good runs. He's 19th seed for a reason. But all the evidence, at least for me here, points to McCready.
I agree for sure. Mo Power, literally like 10 points behind 17th place tied Lux and Raka. So
yeah, he's in the cluster of people who are on that cusp of top 16
for sure.
So we'll see what happens.
Who do we got next, Connor?
Dion Lunsford? You gotta have stats on this player, right? Nah, this is the one and only Dion Lunsford, and he's playing his Rocket League teammate and homie, Phil Maester on Lee.
Yeah, so I seeded the bracket and we got the stuff ready to do this, the little cast that we're doing here. So this is our first time scrolling down. So this is actually my first time seeing this matchup, seeing the bracket. Oh, buddy. I mean, I had to know something was coming as we were getting down there and not seeing my name. Um, well, I'm picking myself on my bracket, but geez, it's gonna be tough to take down a friend. I'm coming for you, Philip.
Ooh. And the Lee Vulcan matchup I think is in Lee's favor, but I'm gonna give it to you too
Ooh.
because I think you've done a lot of testing and you've played Vulcan against me on Lee. You've put in the work, so I'm gonna give it to you in this instance.
Man, I appreciate that sentiment. I don't know if I'll actually take it down. I'm just gonna pick myself for sake. Um, I will say I haven't tested as much as I usually do, just considering my seeding and my realistic chances of actually making top 16. Uh, but it was Vulcan for fun to play anyways, or like go for it with like a McCready pick or sell my soul for Jochum. But I've done a good job of avoiding that choice. Um, so yeah, so I decided in the end to just go with Vulcan, have some fun, see what happens. So yeah, we're gonna play Vulcan. This is I think my first time on it. I almost went Vulcan in the middle row because I thought middle row was really good for Vulcan. But yeah, so here we go. We'll see what happens.
All right, and the last of the bottom matches is Belush versus Acox, McCready versus Walsh. Um, so here we are with a pretty similar situation to last time. The seed differential is not quite as big, but the matchup is still there. These are both good players. It's a tough one. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's tough. We've seen Belush have some success. I had a second place finish. Man, I think it was in the bottom row. I think event 6, and then Acox, fairly newcomer, veteran player. I know I have him in my league in BGG, where I think we actually have one of the outgoing games left to play in that. Um, Acox is a really good player. I think he usually always plays Walsh. I think I would. I think I'm gonna go Acox here. But that obviously this is your bracket. This is mine. What are you thinking? I'm envisioning turn 1 swarm cluster, and Acox just gets it, and then the game's over.
Somehow you've sold me on that vision. Somehow. I can't explain it. If you guys play your game, let me know if that happens, because I'd be interested to know. All right, so now we're on the next one. I think we've covered most of the people at this point. So
yeah,
we'll
the only new intros would be the people who had the buys.
And yeah, we've talked about them in the rankings.
That is also
already,
true.
So.
That is also true. So yeah, we'll try to run through this a little bit faster now that we're getting going. But Alderaan and JP runs funny. Alderaan not playing honeymoons no more, so back on the Jochum pick. We will say that we talked about Gianos winning the fantasy bracket, being the only person to let Alderaan go the distance in the winner's side. I have been one to usually pick that same way and get punished for it, Alderaan, just so you know. So I'm gonna need you to pick it up and make top 8 again, because every time I do, you let me down. So I would pick Alderaan in this matchup, but it's another Jochum McCready. So
yeah, and I kind of got that feeling for JP. He only shows up when he wants to show up, and part of me is like, ooh, I respect the hell out of that. But number one is number one, and I think for now that's what I'm going to go with.
okay.
Next up, this is I knew this going in from the last pick, but Darklighter on Jochum versus Lux, and this is the matchup that you hate to see, and they're both high quality players, and this kind of leans me right towards Darklighter.
Oh my gosh. So yes, I agree with this 100%. Maybe like 95%, just because just like March Madness, you're gonna have that one shining moment. And in testing, I did a lot of testing, not necessarily in this matchup, but in the past. Like in the overall, we do feel that Jochum just bodies Vulcan but sometimes you do get the cards and you do get the time, and you can get that win. I have done it. So I think that I would go with the one shining moment, just in this case, for Lux. But I'm not going to argue with the Dark Rider pick here.
Yeah, as you can see, he's got a road of Jochums ahead of him.
Yeah,
So it's you hate to see it, but it feels like it's only a matter of time.
Disclaimer, I will probably pick Lux in this pick, but definitely would probably not see Lux getting a second Yokum win.
All right. Juan Carlos versus Patriarch, Jochum versus McCready. I think it's when we gave it to McCready last time. I'm just gonna say Jochum this time.
Sounds good. Easy enough.
Now this is I preface this, but so Pork and Beans, welcome to the Lee train. He's been practicing a lot. He's been practicing with me. He's definitely one of the people that I practice with a lot, and he's definitely gotten his handle on Lee. But I also went out of my way to play a bunch of Lee games against DG3 in this format. Originally, when I was like thinking about it back in the day, and then also now because I wanted to see him get that run in. And so we have someone who's experienced on Lee and someone who's experienced against Lee and people who are just overall experienced. What do you think?
Oh my goodness. So like, even like, when we were seeding this, like, I am also, I would consider myself a partial member of the Lee crew, and I almost went to Lee. Although it just doesn't work for me a lot. Despite having the training from Connor. This is tough. I'm gonna give it the DG3, or from my side. From my side,
I'm gonna agree. It's an upset in the bracket, but I think I've played him again enough that he knows exactly what he's got to do, exactly how to do it against Lee, and we'll see if he's able to pull it out. But boy, is that one a tough one in a coin toss. All right,
Cisco versus JL Yokamir.
two good players, both on Jochum.
I'm gonna pick JL just to spice it up a little bit and see what happens with. Obviously, we won't see a losers bracket here, but for the points, you'll see with the Cisco out, that potentially opens it up for other players to maybe see if they can do something. Plus, Cisco is fine; he's making top 16 anyway. So,
Cisco's got me points in bracket before, and I'm just gonna go with that again and see if he'll give me some more points.
fair enough. Ninjinan on Lee, another Lee member.
Mm-hmm.
I really do think this might be the highest concentration of Lees. It's getting there. It got to be tied at least against D-Zilla, who we had coming off of the mirror match against Wachalanek. The dreaded Lee McCready matchup that a lot of people feel is very, 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 very awful. I don't know if we got to hear this from you, one of the probably revered Lee players now at this point. How do you feel about the Lee matchup, actually, while we have a chance to talk about it?
Well, it's definitely better than it is in other formats. The kind of bottom row-esque and the year 2 promos, I think, really helps it out compared to some of the other sets where you can just get bowled over. Especially like core set where the damage is sparse and they'll beat you to it and they have more means to beat you to it, and the greens have the powerful pair effects that you can't really get access to unless you invest heavy, and they'll just beat you over the head with it. So that's what I think about the matchup. But I'm going to let you in on a secret for this match. It's not really a secret, but it sounds really cool if I say it like that. I know Ninji has been in training boot camp with the other Lee Master, who does not play in the WWBC, but
So you'd be talking about Lido?
I would. The only person to win a Commanders tournament with Lee. She and Ninji have been playing quite a bit, and I know he's learned a lot of the tricks. She sent me messages. I'm going to quote it. Uh, I'm terrified of what I've done. I've taught Lee how to play Ninja. God help us all.
Ninja how to play Lee.
Yep. Something along those lines, roughly. So I think he knows exactly what he's going to do in the format. He's won before. He's a great player, and I'm going to give it to him in this. At least insofar as Dingy, this is what you got to do to prove yourself. You want on an elite train? Come on in. This is proving ground number 1. I'm going to give it to you. This is me saying I think you're going to prove yourself here.
I think I think I'm gonna veer on the side of the majority, and my bracket probably have whoever I pick for Dzilla, Wachowanek, both of them created to win this match. And I will note that it's a good pick, especially if you're somebody who has a bye like Ninja. So like you might have some, depending on how the seating works, because the double elimination, you might come away with minimum top 32 anyways. But at 13, we talked about the points. He's at 390. And he's like right there on that cusp of people from 13 to 19. So if he messes around in O2s or comes away with just 20 points, he could find his way out. So I definitely hope the pick works for him.
All right, and we got Corey Bear versus Royal Lance. This is another one of those two good players. Good matchup. It seems just like a toss-up to me. I think maybe I'd give it to Corey Bear.
Yeah, I would go with Corey Bear here. It would be nice to see if Royal Lance could make a run. I don't think Rashad to make top 16, unfortunately, but still see Lance really go. I think he's been getting better and better as far as WWBC is concerned. Recently, I think making a top 24 finish in Honey Buns. So, yeah.
And then Politis and Yarboa. Geez. Good players, good commanders. I think I'm going to peanut brain this and just say 12 is less than 21, and the lower seed is more advantage, has a better advantage to win.
Sounds good. I'm just going to say for the record, Yarboa, I think I will have you winning against Bahamut. I think I said that. And I will pick you to win this one as we go on our journey together to see if you can make that run for top 16. So sorry, Politis. I think you're fine at 425. So yeah, Yarboa for me.
All right, Rollin Pawn Imam, and this is number 2 coming in. Both on Jochum. I think in this matchup, we've seen Rollin Pawn dominate before, and I see no reason why he wouldn't.
That's fair. Imam, bless her heart, has been playing in all of our events as well. Love you, Mom. I think had a couple of top 12s early on. What's he got her at 31? So overall in points, she's at 33, 140 points. So she's had some success, not fairly recently, but still grinding in, picking Jochum. I think I'm probably going to go Rollin Paw as well, just to make the pick.
All right. Me and Raka.
Jochum. Yeah, it's your first encounter with Jochum. I would say certainly a winnable matchup. Man, this gets, as you can imagine, it gets real awkward to make a pick with the person standing right here, especially if you're veering toward picking against him.
Wow. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, he knows I'm going all the way to the top, baby. Never going to stop. No. For entertainment purposes, I think I'm going to go for myself here, and I'm probably going to have myself immediately lose to Rollin Paw because I think the way that this karmically goes is that I get the win here, and then I show Rollin Paw. I not that I've never really talked to him or seen anything, but he's the other. I've played against Alderin in so many brackets, so many times in a row. And it's my first time going up against Rollin Paw instead this time. And so we'll see if I show him a trick or two on Lee, but I think I'm gonna give myself the loss there.
Okay.
So We'll say I get one cheeky game against a Jochum player before I'm out.
All right, so we got the same exact matchup right below you with Slavic and
You know,
Desta.
Lee could really never beat a Jochum. I think it's just impossible, and even the best Lee player really couldn't possibly beat a Jochum in any situation. So I'm going to go with Jochum on this one. Sorry, Dustov's a good player, but it's just not feasible.
Fair enough. Okay. We've got the Titans Classic, Jochum and McCready, and Zim and Kuntz. So this is our first time seeing Zim, as he has a bye at the 10 seed. I believe we said at 10, is he theoretically sitting comfortable? Yeah, I think if you're at like 425 and up, you're probably okay. But he's doing well, and I'm sure he doesn't want to lose now, though. I'm sure he wants to take that title. Kuntz has been picking it up, though. This one's tough, but I think that I'm gonna give it to Zim.
Same. Now we have Penguin Army, the Swiss Penguin Knife. Oh nope, that's not a good one. But you know what? We'll get there. We'll get there. He's up against Ian.
Swiss Penguin Army Knife.
We'll workshop it. We'll workshop it. He is up against Agent Seto, and this is where I think Ian's desperate attempts to claw for points will bite him in the butt. And I'm going to give this one to Penguin Army.
Fair enough. I think I'm going to give it to Ian on this one and see how far he can go after this.
So now we got Sheridan on Newberg versus Mo Power on McCready.
Man, this is very similar to the bottom row format in Event 6 that I was going for. When I picked Newberg, I was trying to hunt down the McCreadys, and that did not work out for me. I hit DG3 in a very close wash game that I lost, and then hit Penguin Army in the Newberg mirror, who proceeded to get all the McCready matchups and also take down some Jochums, though. I don't know if I could have did the same thing as him. But now we see Sheridan here, assuming everything goes as we're planning, getting two McCreadys. Man, I think I'm gonna ride the wave, and I'm gonna pick Sheridan.
You know what's better than getting two McCreadys? Play against three McCreadys.
Yeah, as we see here, if Sheridan takes it down, he will play against Penguin Army, which would be his third McCready if it goes as we're trying to profit here.
All right, you and C-Bus Ripper.
We don't gotta talk about this.
Yeah.
Dion's gonna whoop that C-Bus Ripper ass.
Yep.
And no, that's not gonna happen at all. This is probably gonna be a wash. But I could have the one shining moment. I don't foresee it. I got C-Bus Ripper also probably taking me down here.
CJK versus Acox. Jochum and Walsh.
I'm going to give it to CJK because I'm going to assume Chris is pissed that he didn't get to play in Honey Buns. And even though he's probably chilling at 11 at 440 points, he's going to try to take as many people down as possible. So we're getting there now. So now where are we at? Well, I guess it doesn't really tell us with the fantasy bracket, but we got to be in top 16 right now.
At least.
Yeah. So, I mean, right? Because
we're picking top 8, right?
Yes, yeah, so right now the matches we're picking now are playing for top 8, right? Scroll down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. No.
This is top 16.
1,
2.
2. This is top 32.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so now we are picking for top 16 now.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Then here we go. 2 Titans on J.
Jeez,
I'm going to go with Dark Light.
I don't know if this matchup has happened. Maybe in the losers bracket in a previous tournament. I'm sure they played plenty of times, obviously, in the past. But yeah, a Darklighter, huh? Yeah, I like it.
And then we got Juan Carlos versus DG3. And DG3, one more time at least. I'm going to believe in you with this Walsh.
Man, that's tough. At this point in our bracket, has he played a Jochum yet? Would he have? No.
Nope.
Okay, that's fine. Like I personally think that if you're not playing Jochum, there's a certain limit to how many you can honestly take down with you. That's just my belief.
Yeah.
Although we have seen something similar. I believe the Mystic made a top 8 run where he was the only Walsh in 7 Yokums in a top 8. That I believe he was able to take down at least a couple with him before finally succumbing to the Yokums. But
Nobody's ever really made a top 4 run just by playing Yokums, have they?
not unless you're Yokum yourself.
Wait, no, but I did, didn't I?
Oh, did you?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh, how many did you beat? You didn't play all Yokums.
The one that I came in third, I stopped at a McCready, but I think I got the top 8 through Yokums.
I know for sure you went back to back. Like you beat Alderaan and then you beat somebody
CJK,
else. CJK,
and then the one. I think Cool Jets. Oh no, I played Cool Jets with Walsh at first. So
Yeah.
first game scraps out the
Yeah.
whole thing, but it was it was a few.
But
Yokums.
still, so yeah, for sure. If anybody can do it, it's definitely GG3.
All right, Cisco and Ninja.
I have played this match. It was like one game. I think we did a test match. I don't know. I don't think it was this format though. It may have been, or a different one that Ninja sent to me, where he was Lee and I was Jochum, and he was doing some cool things. I think he did manage to beat me in that one. So we know it can be done. We obviously know these guys are 2 really great players. It's just about making the pick at this point. What do you got? I'm curious.
Once again, I'm not saying this because I necessarily think it's going to happen, but this is my Ninja. You want in the League Club? This is what we got to see. This is what we got to see. You do this, you're in. That's it. That's the only other. That's it. Those are the 2 things you do. You beat the McCready, you beat the Yokum, you're in the club.
Yeah, you got to assume too here if this comes to fruition. Like I mean, we're picking for top 16, top 16 50 points. Like he might be solidifying his spot at this point at 13. So okay. Next up, we got the 5-12. So the basically the top seeds expected getting to this point. 5-12 matchup. Corey Bear and Politis.
Here we are, the Yokum McCready. Who knows what'll happen?
Jeez.
I think I'm just gonna go with Politis here.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Hashtag blame it on the Politis.
All right. So I know I said I was gonna make myself lose to Rollenpaw here, but I later noticed something that would be funnier, and I totally think if I was doing this genuinely that I would lose to Rollenpaw here. But I've got to go for one more meme. One more meme, everybody. Hang on with me for one more meme. Okay?
Oh, buddy. All right. Next up, Slavic versus McCready. Might as well be McCready. Zim 108. Man, like both have done so much already. Making second place runs. Probably solidified for top 16, Slavic at the very least. So besides getting points and further solidified, I don't know what they have to play for, so it's hard to make a pick. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Zim just because I want to make sure I get that even split of McCready versus Yokum.
That's fair.
And for no other reason.
No other reason. There is that 3rd consecutive Newberg McCready Nom Nom matchup that you want. If you're Newberg, potentially. Some people think that it's favored for McCready. I think that it starts out probably at like a 52-48 for Newberg. All things just going out the same before anything happens. Man, I don't know if I would want to give Sheridan another one though. Not necessarily want to. If I can, what do you think? Do you think?
So yeah, no, this is what I was thinking when I was thinking last time. I saw he'd be playing PA, at least according to my predictions. And PA knows Newberg. I know that, and I think he'll be able to pull this one out despite any possible matchups. I think he'll be the one to pull it out.
I mean, I'm going to assume Sheridan knows what he's doing as well. I mean, definitely giving off the vibe that he might be a Newberg main.
True.
But we'll see what happens. Yet another Yokum mirror.
Seabus Ripper versus CJK, and at least I'm going to give this one to CJK, even though Seabus Ripper maybe on paper has the better stats, but CJK, like you said, back with a vengeance, itching to play, itching to get back in, and I'll give you that shot.
Okay. So now we should be 1, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yes, now we are picking for top 8 now. Because on the winner side, as opposed to the loser side, it's very simple. After the first couple of rounds, goes down to 32, 16, 8, 4, 2. And on the winner side, it's half. So once we get to, as you can see here, picking for top 8, there's 8 matchups, but they'll play for the top 4 on the winner side, and that will make half of the top 8 because the other half will be in the loser side. So, Darklighter and DG3.
This is where I think the Walsh run is going to end. Going to give this one to Darklighter, being Jochum. Just eventually, I think you got to give in to the J.
That is fair. I would love to see either of these players win. It would be cool to see Darklighter make the run to get to at least the grand finals. Darklighter has been a very consistent player, going at least 2-2 or 3-2. Which, I mean, we've seen it's hard to get wins in this tournament in general. Everybody's so good, and you're basically rewarded on your wins. I remember early on in event 2 or 3, Darklighter did make a top 4 run, maybe 3rd or 4th place, where he made, I think, the longest run to date, where he won 7 or 8 in a row in the losers bracket to make that run to his third place finish, I believe it was. So haven't seen much besides the consistent 2-2, 3-2 to just keep on getting top 16. So he's been trucking along, getting 50 points, 50 points, 50 points, and that's how you stay in the race. So it would be cool to see him win. Whoever wins is fine with me, but we'll go with Darklighter here.
All right, Politis versus Ninji. Ninji, if you got here, you made a good run. You proved your point. You're in the league club. Yeah. You don't gotta win anymore. It's cool. You can rest easy, brother.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, and also, this is just the winner side here, right? So we're playing for top 8. If he loses, he goes down to the losers bracket where he's still a game away from top 8. He plays in top 12 basically. So he still gets another shot to make the top 8 from here. So depending on who he hits.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now here's part 2 of the meme, Dion. Is that I'm sure that Zim has a wanted poster with my face on it at his house for the amount of times that I've robbed him unjustly of tournament placements in weeklies and stuff like that. So I'm here to say hashtag justice for Zim. Okay? He's earned it. He's earned it. I've robbed him too many times. I can't keep getting away with this. You can do it.
It is what you say every time this matchup pops up, either on Thursday Commanders or otherwise. So, okay.
Now we've got Penguin versus CJK. Gosh. There you go. It doesn't get easier.
No, it doesn't. I think just for the meme, I think I'm going to have CJK Flyer going in again against PA. PA does not need the points.
All right. Top 4. Darklighter and Politis.
Well, this would actually be top 8, but
Dion, I don't know.
It's fine. It's really hard. I know. So what we didn't say was our circuit here is best of 1 most of the way through until it gets to the top 8. Top 8 will start best of 3 play, and the winners and the loser side advancing on to the grand finals, where it will be a best of 5 set. If the winner of the loser side advances to the grand finals and beats the winner side grand finalist, they do have to play a second set because that brings the winner side finalist into the losers bracket. So best of 1s all the way up until this point where we are right now. And now we're starting best of 3 play, which kind of can have an impact on the matchup depending on how you look at it. So we're going to best of 3 in this Jochum mirror match, Darklighter and Politis.
It's anybody's game.
That's fair. I think I'm going to go with the storybook and go with Darklighter here. But it's your bracket.
I'm just going to pick Politis because you don't go into this bracket knowing who's going to win. You just kind of pick until you narrow it down enough and relent on, I guess I've picked this because it's too hard. It's too hard to tell.
That's true.
All right.
Zim and CJK. Man, I think I'm gonna go Zim. I think I've been riding CJK a little long at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Probably ends here. Zim goes on again, even though he's also had his fair share of success. He'll go on with another chance to make the grand finals.
And I'm one to commit to the bit, so I'm also going with Zim. And
Fair
for
enough.
my grand finals pick, that's
So,
going to seal
yeah.
it for me. But
Right.
let's have some discussion and say, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, so this is going to be the winner's side of the winners finals.
Yes, winners finals,
Yes,
not
so,
grand
yeah,
finals.
Yes. So this is going to be the winners finals, top 4 of the overall tournament. So these two spots would be guaranteed top 4, because the loser would go down into, well, I guess top 3 actually. Yeah, because the loser would go down into losers finals, guaranteed 3rd place. And if they win, they can come back to play for top 2. And then the winner gets grand finals winner side, so guaranteed top 2. Best of 3. Something that we're thinking about next season is still being best of 1 in the preliminary rounds, but maybe moving best of 3 back to the top 16, just to give more people a chance for set play, making for some more dynamic sets and matchups. And if we do that, I'm thinking about making the winners and the losers finals best of 5. But we'll see how that goes.
What's all this we stuff? You're the one doing all the hard work.
That's fair. So as of right now, though, this is going to be a best of 3, but for the grand finals, best of 5. So 3 games, potentially. Politis, Zim, Jochum, McCready. Titans going at it. I guess we do know you're picking. You're committing
justice for Zim.
Justice for
Justice
Zim.
for Zim.
Well, I'm going to continue to blame it on the police. So. There we go.
Not to get political, but we do have some social movements going on with these bracket picks. All right. You have to go down here and do it.
So you don't actually make the pick up there. You make it down here, where you select your bracket winner, and then you get to make your title. Justice for Zim.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you do it. So this does not pick the overall winner of the tournament, just the bracket winner and the person who basically would go on to the grand finals. We did do the whole bracket at one point, but that was a lot of picks. Oh boy, we already got some. I'm
not going to scroll down
brackets.
because it has their emails. And
that is fair.
It was one thing when it was mine, but I'm not going to do it to other people. So, you can check out the bracket predictions.
Man, I kind of want to see some of this
on your own.
That is fair, though.
You can see all of the funny names that they're going to have, and submit one yourself.
Yes, I'll be submitting one here in the next few hours. Tournament's going to start, well, if you're looking at it now, tomorrow at 6 p.m. EDT, Eastern Time. I don't know when, or do we plan to upload this? Or
yeah, as soon as it gets done,
okay.
It'll be up. So, thanks everybody for joining. This was a long video to cover everything, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what you think and whose names we got wrong.
Yes, if you wanted to do something, more stuff like this, I think it would be, personally, I think it would be pretty cool to do. This was fun. I was a bit nervous going into it. Maybe you guys sensed that early on, but I definitely got more comfortable as it went on. So I wouldn't mind doing more of these. Just let us know what you guys think. And we'll see you in the next one, maybe. Good luck to all players playing in this event.
Lee's number 1, baby!